Good morning, Rosedale boys and girls. Here is a story I'm going to share with you called Welcome to Cuckooville, and it's written by Susan Chandler. In the middle of Cuckooville, there was a clock, a cuckoo clock, but behind the doors of the cuckoo clock there was, well, nothing, not a cuckoo in sight. Instead, every hour, one of the townsfolk would run up the steps and burst through the little wooden doors. How they loved being the cuckoo, especially Mrs. Gobbledygook. Lumpy plums, snuffly baps, she sang from the top of the clock. The mayor stopped and shook his head. Right, from now on, everyone takes their turn at being the cuckoo. Everyone except for you, Mrs. Gobbledygook. We don't need to know about your snuffly plums, thank you. We need to know the time. Actually, it was lumpy plums, added a little boy called Pete. Poor Mrs. Gobbledygook. No one in the town could understand her. Dropsy bubbly? Asked the grocer. Squishy warts? Queried the baker. What's a nooby nooby when it's at home? Questioned the butcher. If only she could prove to the rest of Cuckooville that speaking gobbledygook could be useful, then she could take her turn at being cuckoo. 1 second, boys and girls. Oh dear, the lights went off. One day, a strange vehicle came rumbling over the hills. The townsfolk stood and stared. Who are they? The greengrocer wobbled. Where did they come from? The baker quivered. I haven't got enough sausages. The butcher shuddered. What do they want? The mayor whimpered, starting to panic. The vehicle stopped. The doors opened. The steps came down. Visitors! Cried the grocer, tossing some tomatoes. Strangers! Yelped the baker, lobbing buns in the air. Aliens! Boomed the butcher, chucking his chops in a fluster. The townsfolk panicked and ran in all directions until they got tangled together and landed in a hysterical heap. The stranger spoke. The townsfolk wriggled. The mayor popped out. What? Stuttered the mayor. Hunky Nubs, the stranger said. He sounds like Mrs. Gobbledygook, Pete piped up, but nobody could hear him. But just then, Mrs. Gobbledygook appeared. She marched right past the mayor and greeted the strangers with a smile. Nubbly crubs, she said politely. Nubbly crubs, said the strangers. Fluffy Snop's egg dropsy wink, pointed Mrs. Gobbledygook. She's telling them to get lost, hissed the grocer. She's giving them what for, barked the baker. She wants a big sloppy kiss, whispered the butcher. She's giving them directions, said Pete loudly. Ah! Ah! Breathed the townsfolk with relief. Directions! Sorry, children. Oh dear, the lights keep going off. Directions, said the mayor, realising all the panic had been for nothing. Then he turned to Mrs. Gobbledygook and whispered something. Mrs. Gobbledygook nodded her head and then walked towards the clock. Bobbledy plop, Cuckooville! Mrs. Gobbledygook shouted from the top of the clock. "Which means," said the mayor, "welcome to Cuckooville." And with that, the mayor invited the visitors to join them for a jobble-jibble, which, to you and me, is, of course, a party. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for listening. And I do apologise for the lights. We're just trying to find a quiet place in school. See you all. Bye.